There's a thief living underneath your eyes. It's been there for years, working slowly, quietly, taking something from your face a little more every single month. And the worst part isn't that it's stealing from you. The worst part is that everything you've tried to stop it has been aimed at the wrong target. That thief has a name. It's called Orbicularis atrophy. And before today, you've probably never heard anyone say those two words together. Your dermatologist hasn't mentioned it, your esthetician hasn't flagged it, the person offering you under eye filler certainly hasn't brought it up. Because the moment you understand what orbicularis atrophy actually is, you realize that most of what gets sold for under eye hollows is a workaround, not a solution. I'm going to show you 5 things happening beneath your eyes right now. 5 levels of change stacked on top of each other. And when we reach the bottom, you're going to see that all 5 trace back to one single root, one muscle, one problem, and one 60-second fix that doesn't involve a needle, a cream, or a laser. Let's start at the surface. Level 5. You already know what this looks like. You see it every morning. The dark trough that runs from the inner corner of your eye towards your cheek. Some days it looks deeper than others. Some mornings it looks bruised. You've tried the eye creams. You've tried the cooling rollers. You've tried sleeping on your back with your head elevated. And maybe for a few hours, things look slightly better. But by noon, it's back. By 3 o'clock, it's worse than it was when you woke up. If you look at that hollow and think, my skin is thinning, or I'm losing collagen, or I just look tired, you're not wrong about what you're seeing. You're wrong about why it's happening. That hollow isn't forming because your skin changed. It's forming because the structure underneath your skin changed. Something that used to hold that area up, plump, full, supported, isn't doing its job anymore. If you've ever noticed your under eye hollows looking worse in photographs than they do in the mirror, drop me a comment about that. I hear this constantly, and there's a reason that happens that connects directly to what I'm about to explain. Go one level deeper. Level 4, fluid. You have a network of tiny lymphatic channels running underneath your eyes. Think of them as drainage ditches. Their job is to carry away metabolic waste and excess fluid so it doesn't pool in the tissue. But here's what most people don't realize about lymphatic drainage. It's not gravity powered. It's not heart powered. It's muscle powered. The lymphatic system around your eyes doesn't have its own pump. It borrows one. It relies on the contraction and relaxation of the muscle surrounding your eye to squeeze fluid through those channels, the same way you'd squeeze a tube of toothpaste from the bottom up. When that muscle contracts, it compresses the lymphatic channels and pushes fluid forward. When it relaxes, the channels refill. Contract, push, relax, refill. That's your under eye drainage pump. But what happens when the muscle doing the pumping gets weaker? What happens when it stops contracting with enough force to move that fluid? Picture a river, not a rushing mountain stream, but a wide, slow river moving through flat terrain. When the current is strong, the water flows clean. Debris gets carried downstream. Sediment stays suspended. But slow the current down, let the flow weaken, and suddenly you see pools forming, still water, murky pockets where sediment settles and debris collects along the banks. That stagnant zone is your under eye puffiness. And it's not caused by too much salt last night. It's caused by a pump that's too weak to do its job. Now you're already starting to see the pattern, but we need to go deeper. Level 3, the fat pad. Behind your orbicularis muscle sits a cushion of orbital fat. This isn't the fat you're thinking of. You can't diet it away, you can't exercise it off. It's structural fat. It exists specifically to cushion your eyeball and protect the delicate nerves and blood vessels behind it. In a young face, this fat pad sits neatly in its compartment. The muscle wall in front of it acts like a retaining wall, holding everything in place. Think of it like an athlete's knee brace. When the brace is tight and strong, the joint stays in alignment. Everything sits where it should. But when that brace starts to loosen, when the elastic gives out, the joint shifts. Things that were held in place start to migrate. That's exactly what's happening with your orbital fat pad. As the orbicularis muscle thins and weakens, it loses its ability to hold the fat in position. The fat starts to push forward. In some people, this shows up as bags. In others, it creates an uneven surface where the fat bulges above the hollow, making the trough look even deeper by contrast. And in most people, you get both. A bag where the fat pushes out and a hollow just below it where the muscle has wasted away. This is where filler comes in. And this is where I need you to understand something critical. Hyaluronic acid filler, the stuff that gets injected into your under eye hollow, does one thing. It fills space. It's a volumizer. It sits in the tissue and plumps it up. And it can look fantastic for a few months, but it does absolutely nothing to address why the hollow formed in the first place. The muscle is still atrophied. The fat pad is still unsupported. The lymphatic pump is still weak. You've added volume on top of a failing structure, like patching a pothole without fixing the pipe that's leaking underneath the road. And there's something else about filler that doesn't get discussed enough. Filler migrates. Over time, hyaluronic acid doesn't always stay exactly where it was placed. It can spread into surrounding tissue, creating a puffy, undefined look that's actually harder to fix than the original hollow. I've seen patients who've had filler dissolved and re-injected 3 or 4 times, each round leaving the tissue slightly more stretched, slightly less elastic. Because you're not repairing the structure, you're renting space in it. If that description made you rethink filler for a moment, or if you're reconsidering what you've been told about your under eye hollows, hit that like button. Not for me, because when you engage with this kind of explanation, it reaches other people who are standing in a clinic right now being told that a syringe is their only option. Level 2. This one surprises people. Bone. Your eye sits inside a bony socket called the orbit, and that orbit isn't fixed. It's not like a porcelain cup that stays the same shape forever. Bone is living tissue. It remodels constantly, responding to the forces placed on it. When muscle pulls on bone, when there's regular mechanical stress, bone maintains its density and its shape. But when muscle weakens and stops providing that stress, bone resorbs, it thins, it recedes. The Orbicularis oculi attaches along the orbital rim, the bony edge surrounding your eye socket. When that muscle is strong and active, it provides constant, low-grade tension to the bone. That tension tells the bone, keep your density here. This area is in use. Don't remodel away from this structure. But when the muscle atrophies, that signal disappears, and the bone begins to resorb, very slowly, along the inferior orbital rim and the medial wall. Your eye socket gets slightly wider, slightly deeper, and the hollow you see on the surface isn't just a soft tissue problem anymore. It's a skeletal problem. The container itself is changing shape. Imagine erosion along a riverbank. You don't see it day to day. The bank looks the same this morning as it did last week. But over years, the current pulls sediment away grain by grain. And one day you look and the river is wider than it used to be. The bank has retreated. That's orbital rim remodeling. Invisible until it's undeniable. Now, can filler fix bone loss? No. Can a cream fix bone loss? No. Can sleeping on your back fix bone loss? No. But can the muscle that caused the bone to resorb also signal it to rebuild? That's the question worth asking. And the answer is what makes this next level, the bottom of the cascade, so important. Understanding why your eye socket literally changes shape over time, that's the kind of insight that deserves to be part of an ongoing conversation. If you want to keep encountering information at this depth, subscribe. That's all I'll say about that. And now we're at the bottom. Level 1, the muscle, the Orbicularis oculi. A thin, flat, ring-shaped muscle that encircles your entire eye. It closes your eyelids. It's responsible for squinting. It creates the crow's feet when you smile. And it does something that almost nobody talks about. It provides structural support to every layer above it. The lymphatic pump, the fat pad containment, the bone density signal, the surface contour. This one muscle, when it's strong and active, keeps all 5 levels functioning. And when it atrophies, every level starts to fail, one after another. like pulling the keystone out of an arch. So why does it atrophy? The same reason any muscle atrophies. You stop using it. Not entirely. You still blink, you still squint. But those are passive, low-force contractions. They're like taking a casual stroll when the muscle needs a training session. You haven't given your orbicularis oculi a deliberate, sustained, full-force contraction in possibly ever. And over decades, just like any muscle you neglect, it thins, it weakens, it loses motor units. The nerve connections that recruit muscle fibers start to go dormant. Not dead, dormant. And this is the critical distinction, because dormant motor units can be reactivated. Atrophied muscle can be rebuilt. Not with filler, not with topical retinol, with targeted mechanical stress. The same principle that applies to your bicep, your quadricep, your rotator cuff applies to the ring of muscle around your eye. You load it, you stress it, you give it a reason to rebuild. So let's fix it. I want you to do this with me right now. Clean hands, no moisturizer on your fingers because you need traction against the skin, not slipping across it. Step 1, find your orbital rim. That's the bony edge of your eye socket. Take your thumb and place the pad, not the tip, the flat pad of your thumb, just below your lower eyelid, along that bony ridge. You should feel bone underneath, not the soft tissue of your cheek, the bone. If you're pressing on something squishy, you're too low. Move up until your thumb is resting on the orbital rim itself. Step 2, apply inward pressure, not downward, not pulling, inward toward the bone. Firm, but not painful. Think of it as compressing the muscle against the bone, the way a physical therapist might compress a muscle belly to stimulate a contraction. Step 3, hold that pressure and try to squint your lower eyelid upward against your thumb. This is the key. Your thumb provides resistance. Your orbicularis oculi pushes against that resistance. This is an isometric contraction, muscle activation without movement. The muscle fires, recruits motor units, generates force, but doesn't shorten because your thumb is in the way. Feel that? That tension underneath your thumb? That's your orbicularis oculi working. For many of you, that might be the first time you've deliberately contracted that muscle against resistance in your entire life. Hold that contraction for 8 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Release. Now move your thumb half an inch toward the outer corner of your eye. Same thing. Press inward to the bone. Squint against the resistance. 8 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Release. One more position. Move your thumb to the outer corner, along the orbital rim toward the temple. Same press, same squint. 8 seconds. 3 positions, 8 seconds each. That's less than 30 seconds per eye. 60 seconds total for both sides. Now, I need to be honest with you about expectations. You won't walk away from this with visibly different under-eye contours tonight. This isn't a filler appointment where you see instant volume. This is muscle rehabilitation. Just like you wouldn't walk into a gym, do one set of bicep curls and expect your arm to look different, you can't expect one session to restructure your under-eye area. But here's what I've seen consistently across patients who do this daily for 4 to 6 weeks. The tissue starts to feel different before it looks different. Firmer, more taut. The puffiness from lymphatic stagnation improves first, often within the first 2 weeks, because the pump action comes back fast. Then the contour shifts. The hollow starts to fill from underneath. Not because you added something, but because the muscle that was supposed to be there started coming back. In over 3 to 4 months, the entire under-eye architecture rebuilds. Some of you are thinking, can a thumb really do what a syringe full of hyaluronic acid does? And the answer is no. It doesn't do what filler does. It does what filler can't. Filler adds volume to a collapsing structure. This rebuilds the structure itself. They're not comparable interventions because they're not addressing the same thing. One is cosmetic camouflage. The other is structural rehabilitation. And there's one more thing I want you to notice. After 3 or 4 weeks of consistent daily practice, try this. Close your eyes gently. Now squeeze them shut as hard as you can. Feel the force of that contraction. Compare it to today. When your orbicularis oculi is stronger, you'll feel a dramatic difference in the force it can generate. That's not cosmetic feedback. That's neuromuscular feedback. Your brain has re-recruited dormant motor units. The muscle is firing with more fibers, and the structural consequences of that increased contractile force will show up in every level of that cascade we walk through. If you know someone who's been considering under-eye filler, or who's already had it and isn't satisfied with how it's settling, send them this. Not because filler is wrong, but because they deserve to understand the structural picture before they make that decision again. Here's what happens when you rebuild that muscle. Run the cascade backward. Level 1, the muscle regains tone and volume. Level 2, mechanical stress returns to the orbital rim, slowing bone resorption, giving the bone a reason to maintain its shape. Level 3, the fat pad gets pushed back into its compartment because the retaining wall in front of it is strong again. Level 4, the lymphatic pump works again, fluid drains properly, and the morning puffiness starts to resolve on its own. Level 5, the surface contour fills in, the trough softens, the dark shadow loses its depth. 5 levels, 1 root, 60 seconds. You don't need a product for this. You don't need an appointment. You need your thumbs and the understanding of what's actually happening underneath your eyes. You have both of those now. The muscle is there. It's been there your entire life. It's not gone. It's dormant. And dormant is a very different word than gone. Dormant means waiting. Dormant means ready. So start tomorrow morning, 60 seconds, 3 positions per eye, and let that muscle remember what it was built to do. If this is the kind of conversation you want to keep having, where we go beneath the surface and understand the actual architecture of what's changing in your body, then subscribe and stay in this, because this is what I do. And there's always another layer to understand.